Well, the cleanup of the beds continue. I'm going to be looking at this bed here first. These are the tomato beds, as you can see. I've taken off what I want, and we've had a really good crop. Frozen quite a few. There's still a few on there. Some of them are split, but I've noticed there's blight appeared on one or two of the plants, so I'll just make a note of what they are for future reference for next year. Anyway, I'm going to rip all these out now and get them in the council bin. Over the last few days we've had a deluge of rain, so the ground's still quite sodden really, but a few more dry days in the horizon, and at the moment the temperature's reading 3 degrees, which certainly feels like it, but as long as you keep moving it's not too bad. So that's the end bed cleared of the tomatoes. I'm going to move down to here now and get these out. All those at the top was blight resistant varieties, but these are just the traditional normal ones, and as you can see some of these have really got battered. We have had a couple of frost nights where it's gone down to like 1 degree, but that one there is a sweet million, as you can see, and this one here is sweet aperitif. So I'm going to get these out and get them in the bin as well. That's all the tomatoes out now. The only thing left in this bed is the faithful old courgette plant. I had 2 in here and they've done me proud. There's one left there, looks as though the rodents have been having a gnaw on it. So I'm going to get that up, and all that's left there in the middle then is these specimens, which are disgraceful really. There's a butternut squash. I put 2 of those in. The first one rotted with the cold weather, and that one there did a light flourish but never produced anything. And right on the extremes there, we've got 2 aubergines, and again, I had nothing off them. Right, let's get them out. The final thing to be lifted out this bed now is the beetroot. These are fairly late being planted, so I want to get these out before they start to go woody. And I think these are the variety called Tardy. Well, that's the crop of beetroot, I must say, very happy with that for being so late in the season. You can see I put them inside the veggie pod because there's nothing growing in there now at the moment. And what I will do is put the cover on, because that'll keep any excess moisture off them with the rain and that. But at the same time, with the lid closed, it does still give a bit of airflow. The smaller ones I'll still probably have them on salads and that, because even though we're going into winter, I still like a salad now and again. And the bigger ones will do our usual thing, slice them up, pickle them and get them into jars. Well, that's the beetroot put to bed now. So this cover on the veggie pod really comes in useful. It acts like a little mini greenhouse in a way. I will keep my eye on it though until we're ready to process the beetroot, because I don't need sweating too much. However, the wind can get through here, so it does get a fair bit of ventilation. So that's all the crops and that, and all the waste stuff out of it. All that's left now is to weed this. Now this bed is 6 metres long by 2.4 wide. And for most people, including me at times, this looks a daunting task to weed it. But mine I'm actually split into 3 sections. I call this bed 1, so that's bed 1A, 1B and 1C. And what I'll probably do is spend one day just doing each section, weeding it thoroughly and then putting it to bed. It's amazing how quickly you can get it done. Nothing better, and on a cold, crisp morning to come out here, get this done. If, like me, you keep wormeries, even though we're going into winter now, you still need to keep them fed What the worms will do, as it gets colder, they'll go farther down into the bin to try and keep warm. If we get really bad weather, and I mean like snow and that, I've got some carpet up the top there where I can wrap around there and get a little bit more protection and insulation. But as it is at the moment, I'm just going to leave them like this. So I'm just going to take the lid off, just show you what it looks like inside. If you want to come and have a look here, just lift a bit of. I've got a couple of sheets of old carpet on. The worms actually breed between these layers. So if you just pull them back like there, you can see one or two there. But if I dig down into here now, just have a look in there. As you can see, there's plenty of worms in here, in the soil. And they love it in here, they do. So I'm just going to give these a top up of food. I'm feeding these now probably about once a fortnight, and it's usually kitchen scraps. Had a bit of coffee grounds, cheapest porridge oats you can buy, and then I had some brown waste, which comes in the form, as you can see here, of shredded paper. This time of year, you don't need to add water. There's plenty of moisture going in off what the vegetables are fetching in. It's time to plant the garlic. Now the beds have been top dressed with superphosphates. That was about 2 weeks ago. We've had a drop of rain in between, and that's washed it in nicely. I've got 2 different varieties here of garlic. There's the Marco, which I've grown for a few years now, and this one is a new one on me. It's called Violet Decadeurs, and it was kindly sent to me by my mate Nick from Nick's Allotment. Well, at this point the microphone battery decided to die on me, so I'll do a voiceover and try and overdub the footage as best as I can. Let's carry on. So I was just saying there, with the garlic bulbs, I tend to keep them intact until at the time of planting them, and then I actually divide them into individual cloves. Something I've always done, it always works for me as well. Now regarding the planting depth, I plant twice the depth of the bulb. So if the bulb is 1 inch high, I dib the hole 2 inches deep. And the final thing, to get my spacing right, my regimental planting, I use my grid, which I use for my carrot tanks. Only this time the spacing will be actually probably 2 or 3 spaces apart. I think it worked out that I'd got 4 going across, and then I had 6 rows. So in that tank there was a total of 24 cloves altogether. The first variety I'm going to be planting are the Marco. I've grown these a few times before, and they do give a good return. For some reason they don't seem to be readily available anymore, so important to keep the strain going, I think. When I actually break the cloves off, you might find they have a little tip on the top. What I like to do is just trim that off with a pair of scissors, and I find that then it makes the emerging tip, gives it a better chance to come out. Right then, get these all in the ground, sorted. When you're planting, do of course remember to plant with the base plate downwards, otherwise it'll take a bit longer to come up. The spacing on these are around about 100 mil, 4 inches. Say anything between 4 and 6 inches is plenty good enough. And if you're doing them in rows, the books recommend around about 300 millimeters a foot, but I'm just planting these in a group, as you can see, and I'm sure they'll come up okay. So that's 2 tanks planted up now, and I've still got 2 to go. It's just starting to rain at the moment, so I think I'll do the other ones tomorrow. You may notice I put a bit of chicken wire on the top, some wire mesh, and all that is to deter the fox from coming across and digging at night. Right, that's them done. You get the gist of it. Leave them to their own devices. The rain has shown us a little bit of mercy, so I'm going to carry on. One of the tanks across the back there, I'm going to plant with these. Now these are the elephant garlic, a much bigger bulb than the traditional one, and actually more related to the leek than the garlic. Same method of planting, however, obviously the spacing's a little bit farther apart. I'll probably do these 6 to 8 inches apart, and again, twice the depth of the bulb. In the end, I decided to brave the elements and get all the planting done. You saw me plant the 2 front ones, so I got a different variety of garlic in each, and the 2 back ones here, I've planted the elephant garlic. I managed to get 12 cloves in each. It's a bit tighter than normal, but it should be okay. The plan is the bed next door is where I usually grow my garlic anyway, but at the moment they got cabbages in. The variety is January King. In the brassica bed over there, I've still got about 3 cabbages to go at, so I want to delay the harvest of these for as long as I can. If I can put them out till February, January, February, that should be okay. And then I'm going to replant that with the garlic I've got left. I've still got some traditional stuff as well as this elephant garlic. It'll be an interesting comparison to see how they grow against these. Right, that's about it then for this one. If you've liked what you've seen, think about hitting the subscribe button and also ringing the bell, and the thumbs up would be nice, and then you don't miss anything I'll put up in the near future. So I'm Nigel Dukes. Until next time, many thanks for watching. Bye for now.